in Module 6, you're looking at creating a prototype. A prototype is basically a draft of what you will do on Canvas. So you're trying to put your idea of how your Canvas site will look on paper. Why do this? Now, some people will just jump into Canvas and start creating their module on Canvas. You play around in Canvas, move things around, and see how it looks. That's one way of doing it, perfectly fine. But it is a problem if you're going to be working in a team, because if everyone's doing their own thing, you don't know what your final product is going to look like, right? So you want to draw up your visualization of what the final product will look like, and that's why we do a prototype. So what is your prototype going to look like, and how are you going to create it? One, you can create it on any platform you want. So for example, you can use PowerPoint to create your prototype. You can use a Word document. You can use a piece of paper and draw on it, and that also counts as a prototype. Okay, so that's where you create your prototype. What do you put into this prototype? And this outline over here on your course module page tells you what you should put into the course, into the prototype itself. So remember to use these as your guide, right? Meaning course structure, content interactions, learning activities, social interaction, and assessment and feedback. Those are the things that you want to make sure are included in your prototype, okay? To give you an idea of how an example prototype can look, you do have an example included on the module page, and so please use that as a guide, okay? And I'm going to kind of talk you through that. So what is the course structure and learner interface? Now remember, in your instance, you're only creating one module. So we're talking about the module structure and the learner interface. So I'm skipping to slide number 3 on this example, and that's a module structure. Okay, so in this particular module on this sample, what you see over here is there's going to be a graphic. Now notice the graphic itself hasn't been identified yet. That's fine. So this is just the layout and outline. So you have a graphic, you're going to have a welcome message, then you have learning objectives, reading assignments, activities. So you can actually see how this whole module is going to be laid out. You don't have to follow this layout, right? You can do it in any way you want, but this is to give you an idea of how your prototype should look and what it should have, okay? The next is content interactions. So create a script or a storyboard. Now, I'm not too worried about a script over here, but what content are you going to have in this particular module, right? So if we scroll down to, say, module 1, right? What is the content you're going to have would be, say, the readings that you have. That's 1. You could have images, you could have animations, audio. So all of those are the different content pieces. So identify them and put them over here. Now you've already been working on this in the worksheets that you've been submitting, so it shouldn't be too difficult for you to pull this together, and you're only doing, remember, one module. Now if you feel you don't have everything you need at this point, that's okay. You can mention that you are still identifying some of the resources, and that's fine. So that's content interactions. Learning activities are things like learning activities and assessments for online courses, they tend to overlap. Okay, your assessment is a learning activity itself. Readings, which is the content, is also a learning activity. So there's a lot of overlap over here. So don't worry too much about it. Just tell me, just make sure that you include what kind of assignments you're going to include in this module. Again, this is something you've already done. You're just putting it together on this particular prototype itself. And social interactions would be what kind of discussion boards you have, or any kind of peer review work that you might be including. Those would be the social interactions. Now, when you're writing up these assignments, what you also want to think about is to write up the description of the assignment itself. Kind of like we have over here, you want to explain what is expected in the assignment, draw up a rubric, and you can do that using in your prototype, which will then make it easier for you as you move it onto Canvas. So you're just following this little guideline. Use this sample. The sample is very helpful. Just follow it as it is. You also have on this Canvas page a video that kind of goes over how other courses have done and what others have done, so you can use that as a guide as well. Now remember, you're only working on one module, so I just need a prototype of one module. You want to have enough materials in the module so that in your prototype, so that when others are reviewing it, they know what you're working on.